Hello and welcome to day 34 of the n8n series. In the last video, we saw how to create an AI agent that can convert video URL into a blog post. But we didn't complete it yet. We are supposed to send that blog post details into a Google Doc. And for that, let's see what are the remaining steps that we need to add in. So let's get started. This is where we left off in the last video. So we need to add a couple of more steps, and that requires us to connect with Google Doc, which is stored in Google Drive. So if we go here and check for Google, right, we have Google Docs. Now, if you go to create a document, then the way we can add the credentials is using OAuth redirect URL, client ID, and client secret, right? And that means there is no straightforward way for us to connect our Google Docs or even Google Drive, right? So we'll have to create the client ID and client secret. So firstly, let's see how do we create that and how does this get connected. So for now, let me just delete this stuff. Let's move on to console.cloud.google.com, which is where we have to create a project, and we'll have to tell what are the accesses that this particular project will need. So if you don't have any project, then you should be able to see create project here. Okay, we already have a few projects added over here, and create new project from here, and it'll ask you the project name, and let's make it as video to blog 1000 days, right? Organization will automatically be linked. Location will also automatically come, which is basically the domain that this account belongs to. So once your project is created, click on select project. And once you select the project, you should see that particular project being shown here. Now, once this is done, go to APIs and services from here. And you need to enable the APIs that you want for this particular project. In our case, we need Google Docs and Google Drive. So let me show you again. Click on this enable APIs and services and search for Drive. So once you search for Drive, you have Google Drive API. Click on that and enable it. Likewise, we can go back and search for Google Docs, and we have Google Docs API. If you need anything else, like let's say Google Sheets, then search for Sheets, right? And you can enable the Sheets API. In this case, we don't need it, so I will be leaving it as is. Now, let's go back, and we have APIs and services over here, right? And then we have OAuth consent screen. So let's go here. What we have done so far is we have told this particular project needs access to Google Drive and Google Doc. But what in Google Drive and what in Google Doc is something that we'll have to mention over here. So click on get started, and it'll ask you for the app information. We'll have to give some name here. Let's call it as 1000 days video to blog. This can be any name. User support email. You could use any emails that are associated to this particular account that you are using, right? And click on next. It's asking you if you want internal audience or external audience. Now, what does internal mean? Because I'm creating this particular project from an official email ID, which ends at red7.com, any user from the organization, that is anybody who has red7.com email ID, will be able to use this particular project. When you say external, which means any user who has a Google account will be able to use this particular project. Okay. For our use case today, we are going to go with internal. It's only me who is going to use this, not even any other team members. So let's go with internal and click on next. Now we have contact information. We can give any email address here, support@red7.com, and click on next. So finish. I agree to Google API services user data policy. Click on continue and then click on create. Now, once you are done with that, click on Create OAuth Client, and you can see what is the application type it's asking us. And we can go with the web application, and we can give the name over here. It could be just video to blog. We have authorized redirect URIs here. Okay, so basically how this works is when the user gives the client ID and client secret and clicks on authorized redirect URIs, it's available over here. I'll explain about this while we are setting it up on n8n. Okay, so we'll have to add this. Let's hold on for a moment. Let's go back to n8n, and we need to add a few things here. And that is going to be edit fields to begin with. So the first thing that we need is document name, right? And let's call this as blog 1 for now. We need the HTML content, which is going to be the final content. So that is this one. We also need to give the drive folder ID, which means where is the Google Doc going to be stored. And for that, so we'll go to Google Drive, and then we have 10,000 days challenge. I'll create a new folder here called blog, right? And we'll go to blocks, and this is the ID that we need to give. Okay, so let's add this particular folder ID here. Let's click on execute, come back, put it over here. So we have set this. Let's just quickly run this. Yeah, this is done. Now let's move on to the next step. This is a code block. Okay, so we are going to use this code, and we are going to run a JavaScript because Google runs on JavaScript. That is, if you want to automate Google Drive, Google Sheets, Gmail, anything, you have to use JavaScript. Okay, so we are going to remove this code and add this particular code. Basically what we are saying is whatever formatted data that we've got from AI, that is being converted to a format that Google Docs can store, right? So if we go here, we have header here, we have text over here, we have a different header here, right? And so on and so forth. This is a different header. Okay, this is bold, this is not bold, right? And so on and so forth. We have a underline over here. We have a lot of formatting added over in this block. Okay, so for the Google Doc to keep the formatting, we are going to use it this way. Okay, so we are telling what is the name of the doc, what is the MIME type. As you can see here, it is application.vnd.googleapps.document, which means it is not a normal doc. It is a Google Doc that we are going to create. And the parent folder is going to be this one. So this can also be coming from the folder that we have over here, right? We are telling this is the parent. And then we are telling doc type is HTML, and metadata, what is the style that we are looking for, and all that things, right? And body is going to be this HTML content, which is basically this one. Okay, and we are also telling body will be split by this boundary. Okay, and we have the content type is application JSON, char set is UTF-8, and so on and so forth. Okay, of course these details will be added in the description of the video. You can copy it from there. Once this is done, finally we need to create a Google Doc using HTTP node. And for that, let's get HTTP request, and this is going to be a post. The URL is going to be this one, which is basically googleapis.com/upload/drive/v3/files ? Upload type equals to multi-part, which means we have multiple parts of the content, and those will be combined together into Google Doc. Authentication will be predefined credential type. Credential type will be, this is Google Drive OAuth 2 API. So we already have an account here. but let me quickly show you how do we create a new one. So click on create new credential and it'll ask you for client ID and client secret. But along with that, it will also give you OAuth redirect URL. So click on this to copy. Let's go back to this one. And here is where we have to give the authorized redirect URI. Okay, so we have copied this. Now click on create. Once you create, you will get the client ID here. Just copy this, come back, put the client ID over here. Click on OK and just click on edit over here, which should also give you client secret. So just copy from here, right? So let's go back, click on client secret here and allowed HTTP request domains. We can mention it as all, or we can mention specific domains or none. Let's go with all for now. Okay. Click on save, which will save your client ID and client secret. And then click on sign in with Google, right? What this basically does is it'll open a new tab, okay? And it is asking you to give access, okay, to your account, which is then going to have access to the Google Drive. You can see, edit, create, and delete all of your Google Drive files. View the photos, videos, and albums in your Google Photos. See, create, and delete its own configuration data in your Google Drive, right? So these are the accesses that it is asking for. Click on allow. Okay, you can see connection successful. Now we have already connected our account to Google Drive. Now we have connected our account to n8n, right? So one last thing that we have to do is send body, and body content type should be raw. Content type here should be multi-part / related semicolon boundary equals to divider, and the body over here will be coming from previous step. So for that, let's run the previous step, which is the code. And once this is run, let's go over here and get this raw data and put that in the body. Let's execute this step. The resource you are requesting could not be found, it says, which is input first JSON drive folder ID. Okay, so let's go over here. Here we have to make some changes. As we can see, this is the doc name. Here parents will use the same ID wherever we need the block to be added. So just take this one, paste it over here. Let's execute this. Now let's finally execute this step, and you can see that the block 1 has got created. Let's go here, and this got created just now. Open this app and you can see the block n8n resume analysis bot, build AI powered screening in 15 minutes, right? All the details, step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4, step 5, step 6, step 7, enhancing your n8n resume bot, advanced tips and integrations, right? And conclusion, revolutionize your hiring with n8n HR automation. FAQ, they've given a couple of FAQs, and there you go. From your video directive to blog, of course you have to add some images to make it SEO friendly and user friendly, but the core of getting the blog written is already automated. One last thing, that is, if you want to automate this, you can just remove this particular step and schedule this, right? So schedule trigger, use schedule trigger, days. If you want it once a week or daily, based on how you want it, you can define this. In our case, because we are releasing one video every single day, they are going to make it as every day. And this is going to be 6 p.m. because 6 p.m. is when our video is getting released. We'll add a buffer of 10 minutes. And so we will be executing this every day at 6 o'clock, right? So I'm going to connect this one, and this one will not be UID. We will use the timestamp as the UID. That's all. Your entire bot is ready. Just click on save and tidy up. This is how you can convert your YouTube video into blog.